In this week's Live Picks, we've got a new play, a local band, and lots of changes happening in the restaurant scene. Let's check in first with food correspondent Eunice Quek. Eunice, what is going on? I hear that One Altitude at One Raffles Place is closing down.
Yes, it's been a dining and nightlife institution for 12 years, so it is quite a pity. 12 years, I would say it's fairly long nowadays with all the changes that has been happening. But the good news is that the One Group that owns One Altitude is launching a new concept called One Arden, and it is also in the CBD at the new skyscraper Capita Spring. Some of the eateries have already opened. There is Bee's Knees Urban Cafe, and there is also Latin European restaurant Sol and Luna. Now next month there are going to be more openings at One Arden, and they will be on the rooftop. So I think there will at least still be really stunning views as well, just like at One Altitude.
Okay, I'm certainly looking forward to that one. But Eunice, quick one before I let you go, before the new restaurant opens, do you have any other recommendations? Say a place that is hip, perhaps?
I think one of the hippest place to be right now is actually Robertas at Marina Bay Sands. The famous pizzeria is actually from Brooklyn, New York, and it's really good vibes, and is known for their wood-fired pizza with this lovely blistered, thin crust. Even just the house-made bread alone with the salted butter was really, really good. It doesn't take reservations, so you do have to queue, and if it is crowded, I think it's actually a really good idea to take away the pizza, go for a nice picnic along the Marina Bay or over at the gardens.
Okay, I think I have my weekend plan right there. Thank you, Eunice. Food correspondent Eunice Quek. Next up, we've got a play that opens at the Victoria Theatre tomorrow, where live audiences can once again fill the entire theatre after 2 years of live show restrictions. Assistant live editor Olivia Ho is here to tell us more about the Glass Menagerie. Olivia, so tell us more.
This is a production by theatre company Pandemonium. It's going to run from tomorrow, March the 11th to March the 27th at the Victoria Theatre. The Glass Menagerie is by American playwright Tennessee Williams, one of the greatest American playwrights of the early 20th century. So it premiered in 1944. This is what is called a memory play. It's called a memory play because from the beginning, the narrator makes it quite clear that it's based on his own recollections, so it may not be precise. And these are his recollections of his mother, Amanda, who is this faded Southern belle who is trying to raise her 2 children in poverty after being abandoned by her husband, and as well as Tom's mentally fragile sister, Laura, who had a childhood illness and therefore she has a limp, and so she's quite socially insecure. So the cast for this adaptation are Jamal Schultz, Inch Chua, the singer-songwriter, Catherine Gardner, who is an American TV actress that's now based in Singapore, and Salif Hardy. And the Glass Menagerie is, despite being set in 1930 St. Louis, and it's very southern, but for some reason it's been quite a popular classic in local theatre. We've had quite a few versions. Adrian Pang, the co-founder of Pandemonium, was himself in a 1996 production of this for the Singapore Repertory Theatre. So it's very interesting to see how this will be handled by Pandemonium's director Tracy Pang this time round. Like you said just now, it is notable that this is the first Pandemonium play that is going on at full capacity since the COVID-19 outbreak. It's not going to be subjected to seating capacity restrictions, just because they're fewer than 1,000 audience members. So this means that it would be possible for Pandemonium to fill all 614 seats at the Victoria Theatre. So I'm quite excited personally for that we may be looking at what could be the first full house for Singapore theatre in 2 years.
I'm excited as well, Olivia. Thank you for that, Assistant Live Editor Olivia Ho. Well, the next one is a local pride. Local indie band Subsonic Eye will be performing in the US this June. Let's get more from music correspondent Dino Abdul Hadi. Hey Dino, is this the first time that you know of a band that is touring the States?
Yes, I believe they will be the first Singaporean band to do an overseas tour since the pandemic hit. So I think this is quite significant. And it's also their first time touring the United States. And Subsonic Eye is an indie band who've made quite a name for themselves, not just locally, but in the region since they formed in 2016. So they have a bit of a regional presence. Besides gigs in Singapore, they've done tours in countries such as Malaysia, Indonesia, and the Philippines. All this before the pandemic, of course. But last year in October 2021, they became the first Southeast Asian band to perform on this online music series called KEXP at Home. So it's this online music series by a Seattle radio station, KEXP FM. So that performance exposed them to quite a few indie music fans in the US. Hence, the band decided that, this would be the right time for them to go out there and play some shows. They also told me that, a lot of their favorite bands are from the US. So it will be very cool for them to play in a place to get a sense of perspective of what the indie scene in the US is like. So the tour kicks off on June 11th in Los Angeles, and then they will play other major cities in the US, including Portland, Seattle, and New York. Yeah, and then the band told me that, they are hoping that their tour, their presence there, will sort of emphasize Singapore on the international indie rock map.
Well, we wish the band all the best. That was music correspondent Adino Abdul Hadi. For more music picks, check out Adino's other story that's out today on homegrown singer Zairi. Now, he's the first singer from Singapore to have a song hit 100 million streams on Spotify. Read more about it at sdr.sg/live.